All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up to this November 18th Legal Shield and Field Notes webinar we do. And this is the networking focused Mondays. Now, what I wanted to share was something for the Canadian people. I will go ahead and share my screen. I didn't forget, but something reminded me to get those documents into the library. So when we go to message templates, we look for the library with the lock on it. And this one's pretty easy. Everything in Canada is in Canada. And then I took your three new plans. You'll see them here, kind of how they're categorized in the whatchamacallit, in the PDFs. And you have now copies of your plans.
Oh, yay.
So now you can ship these out, use them. It has the hyperlink to get the full PDF with no information, right? So if you guys want to, you know, have your information on that PDF just in case it gets passed around, you would have to download it, add your information, save it, and then I guess you can ask me for help how to re-click it. But essentially what you do is you save it, then you have it as a document, and then you attach your file back to this, right? So let's say this is one of the flyers that you just saved with your information. I would possibly maybe rename it with like, with your info in the header. That way, you know that it has your personal information. And then you simply attach it. Oops, I got to pick. And so then you attach the file and you'll see how it sits here down below.
Okay.
There's this little arrow button in a box, which will then push it, right? So essentially you would do this, you would like save all your info, and then you would give it one of, I don't know if you can save from here. Yeah, you can't. So what you would have to do is possibly take the original, put it into some like PDF. There's a lot of free PDF editors that you can get online, and then add your information, and then just reattach it, and then click the little button so that it opens it up here. And this link right here, you have a choice of hyperlinking it or no, sorry, shortening it or just using this link as is. So if you use this link, right? So if you guys take this link, I'll put it in the chat so we can all see this. And this is for everybody. But if you hit that long link, it'll open up the PDF on your side. So
Okay.
that makes that PDF now free to everybody around the world, right? Anybody with internet access is going to be able to access this link, and then you can ship it out. Not only do you save them the time because the PDF is basically here and it's, just in case they want to have a copy of it, they can, once they get it to here, they can actually download it if they wanted to their hard drive, and then they'll have that forever and they won't have to go to that link always. So that's
Okay.
the mhm.
When we download it,
Yeah.
if we click on that PDF and we download it, that just makes it a PDF file in our own computer, correct?
Right.
Or
It does. So, save with your changes. Yeah. So yeah, this one you can save. You don't have to put it into any, you can save it with your changes or without. So when you save it with your changes, that's the one that you're going to want to share, right? With all the other people.
so then how do we back it up into so it is attached to a field notes?
Okay. So we'll save it with your changes, right? And then I'll just put changed. And then let's put this field notes. Let's go ahead and put it in Miriam's folder.
Mary.
So now what I did was I have this, right? So let's go ahead and so first what you have to do is you have to download these, right? You have to take them to your own folder. So I'm going to move one of these to the test folder. And all I have to do is save as and find my test folder, and I can put it in T1. We can hit save. And now all the way down in T1, here she is. Here is my copy, right? But I want to not use this one because this one doesn't have, right? So you can right click it and then you can get to edit links. And this is where you want to switch out, right? The file, right? This is where you want to switch out the file. But first, you have to do this where it's posted already. So I'm just going to start from scratch with it. And you would then attach a file to this one. And since I did this one that has the changed information, I'm going to hit open. And then you're going to see how it attaches itself to the email, right? But we don't want to do this because if we do this, this email will most likely go to a spam or be filtered as possibly a malicious thing, right? Because it has a file.
Okay.
So we avoid this. That's why we put this link there. But you now have to click this and let's see if it has the edited version, which it does, right? So this is where your information would be, like your personal information, your phone number, just in case somebody actually sent this PDF to somebody, right? Hopefully they take it, they see your number at the bottom, contact you, you've got a new prospect, right?
Right.
So with that, that's that's this. So this link that's up here, right? You can see that it has the changed right at the file extension at the end. But essentially, you can either highlight it or you can select all, copy it, go back to the email, and you basically have to edit this out. So there's the edit link button, and now you just do that and hit save. Please remember to remove the email from it and then hit save. And if we email this to each other, right? So let's go to Jeremy. Let's email this to me. I already emailed myself the three before, but I'll show you this one in particular so we can see how it looks. Let me see. Edit the link and see if it has the new link. It's got the okay. So I can send that out, and I'll most likely hear a ding dong in a second. These were the first ones that I did. These are what they look like, but they don't have any edited or any updated information. But this is what it's going to look like to people when they log in. I don't know why I've got this set so large, but there it went. And then so here it'll show up. There's the full PDF and took it to this one. This one doesn't have the information as we can. So this is the first one that I did. And let's close that one. And then here's the other one that I did as well. This is the PDF. It doesn't have any special information on this one, right? But it does open up these links to these PDFs so that people can have access to them. Once again, these ones don't have any information, right? So you got to do the little trick. I kind of shortened this gap. I don't know why there's so much of a gap there, but in the email, it's a little closer together. So that's how that one works, and it looks like it's working well. And then here is the preferred version one. Let me close this. Hugging the dog, and this one also has the version. Let's go. PDF pops up, blank as well. So let me show you the one that we just did, that we just edited. It's this one. And when you go to the PDF down here, click here. This one does have the edited version, as we can see.
Well,
So,
that's,
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's 100%. Like if you sent this without your specific information, I don't think that's going to hurt anybody, right? But just in case it does get passed along, you're never going to know either wise. But just in case any of those people really see something that they like, I would say this could be something in which they follow up with you guys and try to talk to you about getting a plan. And so that is something that I just put out. So that's there for everybody. There's also the other ones for the people who are American. Let's go to those ones. Those ones are in the LegalShield Legal, and they have 11/24. So it's the month, the year. So this is the comparison one. This is the legal plan one, the basic, but it's essentially same situation. Where's the other? These two right here, the preferred. So for you guys, I guess Canada didn't have one that was like the comparison one.
yeah, we do. I just haven't gotten that far to sending it to you yet.
Oh, well, then when you do that, then I'll post that one up as well.
I've got
But
a few on my list to send you. It's just, yeah,
no,
busy
no,
days.
send them along. I would love to, you know, add more to the library for the Canadian ones. And
Okay.
and then in fact, if that's going to be the case, I'll kind of I'll organize it similar to this one so that you guys have some organization with it. So if it's just in a legal plan folder, it's kind of like how we have the other three. But since Canada was just a small group in general, but now I can see it probably getting more. And so, and especially for you, it would be best to have your things organized so that you could use them. Um, but yeah, so this is what we got coming up. I did find something new. I don't know if you guys use this feature a lot, but I did see something new, and I think this was from Rick Rick Allen. I got so many names in my head. So this had to do with in the connection side. I haven't tested this out fully, but I did catch on to it, which is building the contact form. these guys have now created a new contact form. So you can create a new contact form. I'm pretty sure we can name it. Let me save. Yes. See, so now you can give it a name and then it will actually save it. So this is, let's say, a test one, if I can spell, a test one, and we can just do legook, and then I'll have it here. So if I needed to go back to this one, let me do a new one, and then let me just make this one different. So lead magnets, right? You know what those are, so that you can basically offer an online book or maybe any of these PDFs, right? You can offer them in, let's say, you can post them in, you can create a graphic with a QR code, and you can, if wherever you host this on your website, you could have an actual original link. And so you could use maybe that PDF about making a will. Maybe there's other good resources, PDFs that LegalShield provide that give good sound information, which would definitely help you possibly get somebody. So you could create these lead magnets and you could have all different kinds of lead magnets. And so this one would be test two with gobbledygook and boom. And so just in case you needed to go back to adjust something, maybe with the wording, maybe go ahead and add a couple of things. Now you can, right? It'll say save, so it'll go back and it saves it. But what's important is now you can just copy the code to this, right? Or view the code however you wish, get it into, and now you don't have to like redo it, because what happened before was there was none of this, right? You never had the ability to save multiple forms. You could just create, and then you had to take the code, put it somewhere else. But let's say you needed to edit something within it. That's where the challenge was, right? Because you didn't have this platform to where you could come back. You essentially had to get freaky with it and actually go through this code and actually make adjustments as if you were a web developer. So this should definitely help you guys with creating lead magnet, right? And that kind of stuff. So that's something that I stepped across. There's something this was requested a long time ago. So to see that it actually is now working is quite interesting. So if you guys want to learn more on lead magnets, I can definitely expand and possibly maybe do another tutorial maybe next Monday. I can probably put some things together and give you guys some 411 on what it is lead magnets. But yeah, so
Okay,
this is, go ahead.
this would be almost like we could create a survey because like this looks like it was built for the real estate people, but we could make this into a survey by changing the fields there of what are you looking for?
Um, you could, yes, but see, so these ones are numbers, right? So if we do this, right, we'll have to most likely remove these because I think these are numbers, if I'm not correct. This takes numbers, but let me see, because I think we can edit this. So let's do that. View the form. Yes, see these fields are numbers.
Okay.
But I know you can see this one's a price, this one is a city, but I think this one takes numbers and then the message. So ooh, that's interesting. So if anybody knows code enough, you can take this code, and if you look within here, it'll tell you about specific times of buttons, like more fields, property fields, right? So within this is user form data. You'll start to see where it says the parameters like pop-up source.
I
Here.
think you're going to find, Jeremy, that most of us are
Yeah.
not
No, but see, so
like
what I can
that.
do, so what I can do is because I did this once, I played around with this once, just me, 3 in the morning kind of thing. And you can actually see where it says property address, property zip code. You can go within here, change that code, and what it will do, it will change this and it'll align it better. So what you do is you basically copy this message form and you add it in place of these, like, you know what I'm saying? These things. But I have to see how it ties to the form, and I'd have to play around with it. But for like a simple capture, right? So that where we do is maybe we don't do this, and then this one, and then maybe not the zip code because we really don't need that. And then with city, we can put what's like a survey question, but see, it would be real limited. So
Yeah, it would be really limited because basically, that button will say, when you pull up the form, it will say city. So
No, it won't.
it,
Do your own biz. That's the thing. You gotta switch this up. And then let's see how that's what
oh,
that was. That's what this was saying. So if I change that here, right, it'll change the category, the name. So now it doesn't say city. It'll take your first name, your phone, your email. And then what are you looking for? Do you own your own business? Leave a message, right? So, but I would have to see where this maps, right? So then you could say yes, that kind of thing. But I'd have to see where it maps because I think where it's gonna map is the city field. So that's fine and dandy because what you could do is you could just take that information once you've captured it, move it from the city and possibly save it as a comment, save it as a note, right? Save it as a sphere once. So there would be some manip, but at least you would have a form that would capture that, right? But it would be essentially like one. So that's the thing. I'd have to see how I can play around with this to do different. You know what I mean? But
hmm.
it is it is funny how you mentioned that it could be, but you could also, if you had like a web page, you could use like a Google Forms to where you could have, right? And so
Yeah, okay, you're going way over my head.
yeah. No, no. I mean, you could technically do it. You would just have to stack a couple of things on top of each other, have a website, have a page where you could do this, where you could host it or host it on Google Sites. You could do that. Um, and then have a Google form just below. So what I would do is, would you like to fill out this survey? And then you would capture their information. And once you take their information, it would take you to the Google. And then in the Google form, it would have all of the questions that you would want. However, you have already captured their information, right? So
hmm.
that would be the play. And then you wouldn't have to do all of this. I was about to say Scientology, but you don't have to do all of this coding and know anything of that. You would just have to know how to stack the other two things on top of each other, which is less thinking of what I've just explained, like what you would have to do with this and go into the code and, get Bill Nye the science guy up in here, do that. You wouldn't have to. So probably still went over your head. But for the ones that want to have a discussion about lead magnet, just reach out to me. I'll most likely drive a jumbo jet over your head and help you with it. So, but this is something new, right? Where you can keep multiple forms. Rick Allen is going to lose his stuff in a handbasket when he finds out that it's done because he's got so many of them, right? For his own webpage, he's got, I know one for the make a will, right? There's a big old PDF that the Legal Shield has. And then there's like a couple of other ones. And he has that on his website. So when he does his little webinars and things like that, I think he sends out material in which people can go and get it. But by them going to get it, he also captures their information. So that's a good thing. But if you post it on, I wouldn't say TikToks, but like Facebook, LinkedIn, if people saw, right, what you had, your lead magnet, they would be able just to click the link. It would take them to the capture page where they would put in their information. And then after them hitting save and going through giving, submitting their information, you would have a redirect where it would take you to that PDF. And then there you go. Now they have the document saved right to their whatchamacallit, saved to their device, and then they can read it. And then if they say to themselves, wow, this is a pretty cool product, I could just get this for $45 a month. Amen. Done. You know, so a good tool. And now this is going to make things that much more organized for people really to kind of create a bunch of stuff. So that is good. But yeah, so I think the new stuff. I guess this was another topic which, yes, for a lot of people, it's over your head. However, that's what we're here for. So if you have any questions, you want to make this a dream come true, just let me know and we'll make that happen. And so I don't know if anybody has any special requests. I did see Brother Chip. I don't know if Chip, if you have any questions or if you wanted to have me elaborate on anything, Miriam. I don't know if you've got anything in your mind that you would like to discuss or maybe go over. If not, I would say that I don't want to tire you guys out anymore with all my. I could go hours, right? And so I know sometimes, and then I am so curious to know why I didn't get the memo, right? Because everybody apparently is taking the day off. I should have totally, got on that bandwagon, but
What is today to take the day off?
I don't know. I don't think there's any holiday for today. I think it's just, people heard Thanksgiving is coming in a couple of weeks. So they're just like, yeah, well, we're gonna give thanks now. We're gonna just, but who knows? I don't know. Is it getting snowy in the States? I have totally lost track of, I just know it's raining like hell. Costa Rica is crumbling every day that it rains. Um, all I can thank God is that we're in the valley, and in the valley, it's a little bit more stable. And then where Belo Horizonte is, we are all the way up kind of in the mountains. And so any water that does come on us goes down the hill, right? It affects the other people lower than me, not me really. So just giving thanks.
Yeah, that's really weird that there isn't more people here. There was a lot of people on the call this morning, the group scoop call this morning. So,
There
or
could
with,
be the time change that has affected people, right? Because now we are, well, for myself, I'm an hour difference from Eastern when it used to be 2 hours different. So maybe it was the whatchamacallit, the time difference that's got people a little, I wouldn't say confused, but thinking twice about it.
well, I just clicked on it at my normal time and
Yeah.
it,
No, for everybody, it should show up at the correct time. But I think maybe for some people, it might have shifted, or like people from Arizona, maybe. However,
yeah,
um,
Arizona, yeah, there's a couple of places where they don't change the time. So I know there's
I know they
two.
have a little shift. Arizona, New Mexico, maybe. I don't know. I think
Yeah, they
those
don't, well, Arizona doesn't change. Um,
they're rebels. They're rebels, even more rebels than Texas. But
Yeah, so because I know in the summertime Arizona is the same time as BC time. So do they become mountain time? I think they become mountain time. I don't know. I get
I,
so lost, you
yeah,
know.
I think they
I
do.
have to,
I think they go mountain.
and so I all I do is I just, if I can't remember, I go in and Google is
Google
good
it.
for that,
Yes. What
So,
time is it? Time zone this, and then it gives you the time in that place. That's what I like about Google.
yeah, one of the few things. Anyway.
Well,
Well,
yeah, go
I've
ahead.
been super busy, Jeremy, but not with playing with Fieldnotes. So,
Okay.
just I need to get back at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Start
Yeah,
with, if you like dealing with your current, like doing retention, and then, or if you want to use it for prospecting, you know, it's good to map out how you are going to prospect people, or, how long are you going to hang on to people, right? And then whether if you're going to do a nice 30-day push, like in sales, they would only give us 2 weeks to 30 days to hold on to a person. If I wasn't able, and if I didn't have any ongoing note recent within a month or 15 days, they would take that lead and give it to the rest of the team.
mm,
So in sales, I think it is good, right, that you do limit yourself to a specific 30 days of outreach. I will do 30 days of hard work to attract this person, educate this person, find out all that I can about this person. And then after that, they go into a bucket. And in that bucket, you will just every 30 days pull some type of material together, ship it out to everybody. Hopefully, I was about to say something really bad. I was about to say, hopefully they get into an accident and then they need to, what I mean? But it was like, but let life take its course. Something will happen in which they will then reflect on the types of plans and how the plans can help them. And then they'll most likely get in touch with you because they just have to go through their emails and see, oh, here she was. This is where she spent the whole month sending me all these things. So that's exactly where I saw it. Let me just call her. And then, or if you do make it, if you set up that whole plan for low hanging fruit is what they call it, right? Where it has all the links to go make these, right? You just have it there. If they review it, reflect and go back, and all they got to do is click a button, dump their card in, fill out their information, and then you get the credit. If that's your method of choice, because I do know some people are like, they don't offer that. They want them to come to them. But then again, I feel some people just don't want to talk to people. But the fact that you spent the time, they'll follow through and click you know what I mean? Because if they were that malicious, right, they could just legal shield it anyways, right? They could still get your email about how you want to talk to them about setting them up, and then they could still just Google Legal Shield and be like, ah, found it online, thank you, and then you know what I mean? It is what it is.
And we can do that, but that's the nice thing about if we find out soon enough, we can go to corporate and corporate will return it back to us, which is nice. So I
And
think
I heard that before, but what's also good is if you do a 30 days outreach to these people, you have the evidence that you've sent them, you could screenshot your system. Hey, this is when I spoke to the person. I've been consistently following up. This is my 30-day kind of, every time. This is a month within the time that they did it. Hey, that's mine. Give it up. And who knows? Can you go to corporate and give them and say, hey, I have this person, did they sign up? Like if you give them the full name and email address with phone number, like the information that you gathered, if you were to be able to pull that in a list and say, hey, I have these 24 people that have possibly signed up. Can you tell me if they have? And if they have, well, then there you go. You've got a list. Why wouldn't they? Where did you pull that information from? You know what I mean? And if they say, oh yeah, there's 5 on this list that did sign up, let's say 30 days ago, well then does that help you guys in any way to be like, hey, well, those are mine. Give it.
I don't think you can send them a list, but if you have one, and I've done it a couple of times where you've got one that it's like, oh, well, I couldn't find your number, so I just contacted Legal Shield directly because we do have all their information. You fill in a form and send it to corporate. And then they contact the person and say, were you talking to Marion about this? So there is a
Mm,
check and
mm,
sometimes and I have to say this as kindly as I can, but sometimes when you have, I don't know, there's sometimes where you really don't want the person as a member because they're 911. They phone you, oh, I need it right now, and I've got this going on, blah, blah, blah. When you know in the background from the conversations you've had with them that they will cancel the instant they get help. And so you really don't want them in your system. Those are the ones you say to corporate, you just keep them. Thank you very much,
because the
So,
retention might hurt you.
well, then, they
Well,
also kick
then
that.
they come one, but wouldn't you get your month? Wouldn't you get your one subscription? That's it, and then they drop. I mean,
It's your retention, but because we get paid the first year up front, like annually, then they'll
oh,
claw that back. They'll claw
right.
back whatever is
Yeah, that's
the
right. That's right. So at some, I see your point. Totally
and
get
it,
the
it
rip.
affects retention. It affects your
Yeah,
income. It's like, no thanks.
yeah. For
You
the
know,
money that you get now, it isn't worth all the headache you get later. So definitely, I could see why keeping the riffraff out.
Well, and that's sort of how I look at it and I'm sure all of us have run into 911s and we kind of
Nine
say
one
that,
ones. That's
oh,
what
I
we call
knew
them.
that was coming and I've had a few of them and so it's like you learn the hard way and then you sort of do for me, I just don't even I really do I don't usually send them to corporate, although some people do, but I just sort of back away.
Right. You just let it be. You
Yeah.
let that fish go. You unhook it. You unhook it, and you just swim, fishy swim.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. So,
Oh, that's
uh,
good.
everybody has a different take on things, which is okay. I get that. And so I think for all of us, we just need to make sure that, especially we've got what, 6 weeks to year end. We
Yeah.
need to really all get busy. And that's a good possibility. Maybe, as I've heard a little bit of talk about enrollments right now,
Hmm.
so maybe that's what it is right now there's some catch-ups on the enrollments that because
Everybody's
we
going.
don't yeah we don't do that here. It's
Right.
really interesting just the difference between Canada and the US is we don't have those preset enrollment dates, at least not for the smaller businesses, and the bigger ones, the huge giant corporations, it's like, yeah, we're thanks. And again, you go back to the low-hanging fruit. So
Yeah. Well, I'm always about setting up systems. You know what I mean? Getting the
Mhm.
outreach, trying to, if you can get to 50 people a day, you know, begin to, 50 businesses or whatever your target is going to be. I'm always about consistency. Why? Because in every sales outfit that I've been in, they put us under scrutiny, right? And you've got a time limit to touch a lead. You've got all the materials that you have to have verbatim. You've got your pitch that you have to say in some cases Don't switch a word out. Just read it. It works. Just read it, say it with tone and conviction, and you will get sales. So shut up, read the thing, do this, do it 100 times a day, make 600 phone calls. It's like, these are all the things that I have to, if you put yourself in the salesman's job, that's all those things that you have. So for me, when I see people not making that much of an outreach, I'm just like, well, I know what's going on right here. You know what I mean? Because, Chip's the only one that has left me with my mouth shut. When it comes to calling people, when it comes to sending out stuff, when it comes to like working the phone, Chip has been the only one, well, to like really just keep me, in awe. But there's a lot of other people that do it just at a lesser magnet. So, you know,
Hmm. Well, for sure. Yeah.
but it is what it is. So I definitely thank everybody for showing up.